She was raised with a calm elegance and inherent beauty that would eventually come to define her appearance on screen. Her early years were characterized by potential and adversity. Having lost her mother while she was young, Dey relocated to New York with her family, where she was brought up by her dad, editor of a newspaper. The combination of her father's journalistic knowledge, her personal sensitivity and background, provided a distinct depth that subsequently informed her performance. Prior to her ever imagining in order to become a TV personality, Susan appearing in teen publications as a model like 17, where her youthful purity and composure attracted the attention of casting directors. It was her big break. Almost unexpectedly, she was cast as part of Laurie Partridge's beloved The Partridge Family television series. From 1970 to 1974, Susan was just 17 years old and had no previous experience in acting. However, her naturalness and understated charm were instantly noticeable. As Laurie, the healthy, humorous, and musically talented daughter in the day of the Partridge clan, became a symbol of television in the early 1970s. The program not only made her well known, but also made her a teenage celebrity who was admired by millions of admirers around the globe. Thus, she and co-star David had chemistry. Unquestionably, Cassidy was on and off screen. Even though their the relationship was more intricate than fans ever found out. Dey took care of her abrupt ascent to stardom with extra. Despite the demands of, she started to feel the weight of Hollywood. Following the Partridge family's departure, Dey confronted the difficulty of escaping from the picture of the teenage idol that had characterized her early work. Dedicated regarded as a legitimate actress, she started pursuing more sophisticated and mature. She had appearances in TV films. Mary Jane Harper Cried Last, for example, 1977. She played a young mother in it, battling mental disease. The performance's intensity and demonstrated that she was much more than a gorgeous face. Alone, Dey's career as an actress kept developing from the late 1970s until the early 1980s, taking on difficult tasks that enabled her to display a range of emotions and maturity. Her career took a new turn. Height at the time of her Grace Van Rolowan on Law, the highly regarded legal drama 1986 to 1992. This position was a significant turning point for the Dey, as the bright, motivated, and sympathetic deputy district attorney goes on to become a judge. She ordered screen with subdued power. She received a Golden Globe for her interpretation, Best Actress in a Television Show, a war drama, and multiple nominations for Emmys. The triumph of LA Law solidified Susan Dey's renown for being among the finest well-known actresses from the 1980s. Early 1990s, her contributions to the program were not just an acting victory, but also a historic moment for women on TV, as she contributed to redefining the way that professional women characters could be shown as powerful, intricate, and completely human. In 1992, Susan Dey gave yet another outstanding credit to her diverse career when she took into the position of host for a segment of Live on Saturday Night. It was a significant milestone that proved her readiness to accept humor and live performance, two domains that are not often connected to her previous spectacular and SNL hosting. Was a prestigious opportunities are frequently reserved for performers at the top of their visibility, or those who want to bring back themselves to a fresh group of people. As for Dey, who was already a well-known brand thanks to the Partridge Family and subsequently, it was a sentimental tribute to her ongoing appeal and a demonstration of her adaptability. She viewed the encounter with professionalism and wit, demonstrating that she was able to compete in a live comedian position next to an experienced sketch comedians. She had a friendly appearance, obtained, serving as a reminder of her poise, intelligence, and flexibility to different genres. Later that year, Dey accepted a fresh challenge by co-starring in the sitcom Love on CBS and Diane English, the creator of War, was already honored for her accomplishments, with Murphy Brown. The focus of the show was conflict between romance and work between an outspoken newspaper writer performed by Dey's character in J. Thomas Wally Porter is an elegant dining establishment. Journey. This position represented a clear Dey's shift while he was relocating from the Law's legal drama into a lighter comedy land. The show's goal was to combine chemistry with incisive conversation of an unsuitable pair, similar to the Hollywood screwball comedy Golden Age. At first, Dey's participation was perceived as a wise casting decision that might counterbalance Thomas's more combative humor vigor with her grace and charisma. Audiences and critics were interested in observe how she would change from ferocity to the beat of a half-hour sitcom. But in spite of the potential of the program, Love and War experienced early creative turmoil continue. By 1993, after just one season of these, producers came up with the unexpected choice to use an actress in place of Dappertot's Annie. There were rumors that her departure was primarily due to an apparent absence of chemistry on screen between Thomas and Dey. Theories for Entertainment during the time indicated that even if both actors were as singularly gifted, Their dynamic didn't produce the humorous or romantic ignite the necessary show. Day's honorable, subtle on-screen appearance could have conflicted with the louder, faster tone producers had in mind, as The Sit was a disappointing development for her admirers. Day handled the transition with poise. And without causing a stir in the public. Her departure highlighted the unpredictability of television casting, where chemistry tests and creative vision frequently decide an actor's destiny more than talent or standing. Instead of leave the limelight after Love and War, Day shifted her focus to more somber and relevant to society. 1993 saw her produce as well as played the lead in the television film Lies and later retitled Sad Inheritance. Lullabies for release to the home. This movie was a substantial change from her previous responsibilities because it addressed one of the biggest distressing and stigmatized problems of the period, drug abuse in expectant mothers. Day played the role of a cocaine addict, a pregnant woman who is having difficulty coming to recognizing her illness and the terrible effects it might have on her unborn child. The narrative wasn't waveringly truthful, and Day's performance was quite moving. Receiving recognition for its genuineness and sensitivity, she threw herself into it. In the part, giving up her glitzy picture to show a woman struggling with both social judgment and inner demons. The romantic life of Susan Dey, however distant, not as well known as her acting career, had a significant part in forming the woman she developed into, juggling the men in Hollywood industry with her endeavor to achieve emotional stability. And her first spouse was in 1976. Leonard Lenny Hurson, an experienced Hollywood representative who was much older than she was. At their time, Dee was only now starting to shift away from her persona as Laurie Partridge, the morally upright teen from the Partridges, into more responsibly formed parts. Hurson, already reputable in the entertainment industry and had served as a representative for a number of notable individuals and had a strong network inside the entertainment industry. At first, the connection appeared to offer Susan a feeling of safety and direction during a period when celebrity may have easily overpowered her. Colleagues and friends remembered that Lenny's calm manner and expert knowledge gave her with the necessary grounding as she shivered to redefine herself outside of fairly notoriety on television. But though there were difficulties in marriage as well, given their disparity in age, differing profession goals and current desires to declare her autonomy. By the late in the 1970s, Susan was becoming a serious actress with parts in dramas on television and motion pictures. Hurson persisted in working behind scenes that depict customers, the Hollywood's pressures in addition to other disparate life objectives. In the end, their connection was rocky. After 5 years, the couple was divorced in 1981. Years of union, but they continued to link by way of their daughter Sarah Day, was born in 1978. Even after their split, Susan and Lenny allegedly kept a parental parenting arrangement, giving priority to above everything else. Sarah's health, Day's being a mother, turned into one of the essential elements of her existence, frequently impacting her decisions in both her professional and private pursuits. Years later, following almost 10 years of concentrating on her work and rearing her, Susan, the daughter, fell in love once more. She wed Bernard Sopransky in 1988. A prosperous television producer and executive who had previously worked widely within the sector. Sopransky was renowned for creating plays during the day, like As the World and Guiding Light, providing him with a profound comprehension in the entertainment industry that compared Day's own experience as in contrast to her previous marriage, which Hollywood's shadow cast strong public interest. Her Sopransky's relationship was maintained distant, more personal. The pair decided to stay together. Out of the spotlight, appreciating vacation and a modest way of living. They settled into a peaceful and long-lasting union, staying out of the gossip columns with the controversies that frequently afflict celebrities. Throughout the years, Susan Dey and Bernard Safransky is still there. Jointly, demonstrating their mutual respect, dialogue, and their partnership has frequently been characterized by their loved ones as robust and long-lasting, based on shared principles, as well as a wish for a typical life in the glare of Hollywood. Does Chosito refrain from taking early action? The 2000s accompanied her development. In inclination for seclusion and solitude to comment to family life, as she occasionally went to industry gatherings or unions involving the Partridges and LA Law. Safransky and she have lived in peace for the most part, outside of the entertainment sector's constant focus. After being silent for decades, Susan Dey has finally talked about her complex and a strong emotional bond with her co-star in Partridge Family, David Cassidy. Their chemistry on screen as Keith Partridge and Laurie enthralled millions of people that saw the 1970s, which makes them among their most cherished brotherly pairs. However, behind scenes, their relationship was much stronger, intricate, characterized by camaraderie, love, miscommunications. Susan Dey is currently in her 70s. Has thought back on the years with extraordinary candor, providing the clarification and elegance that time and distance alone can provide. Dey thought back to the early years of the Partridge household with affection and "We were only children," she said. Stated, "It was all novel, notoriety. They listened to the music. It was exciting and simultaneously overpowering. When I was young, Day, an actress and former model, had no previous television encounter when she was cast at the age of 17. As Cassidy was already well-versed in entertainment, originating from a well-known musical family, David was quite endearing, she admitted. He possessed a spark that attracted everyone inside. When he entered a room, it was impossible not to notice him. Their friendship swiftly expanded throughout the early seasons of the show. They had a lengthy horse spent together on stage, practicing lines, recording music, and making innumerable associations with relatives that might characterize audience generation. However, Susan disclosed that she had affections for David, grew deeper over time. I was infatuated with, of course I did, she admitted, referring to him. He treated me with kindness, humor, and talent. As I was still getting used to my surroundings, her love, nonetheless, was not totally a turn the favor she had hoped for. Cassidy, in the height of his teen idol notoriety, was surrounded by focus from devoted followers, and entanglements in love were a component of his reputation. David was leading a different life away from the camera. According to Day, he was being pulled in countless instructions, and I don't believe neither of us was particularly adept at handling with that level of notoriety at such a young age. Later, when she discovered that Cassidy had mentioned her romantic interest in an interview with a magazine, explaining it, Day was harmed. He said somewhat dismissively. I felt deceived, she muttered. It wasn't that he didn't return messages, it was something he created. Personal into a headline that was difficult to forgive. In spite of the growing emotional gap between them, Day maintained a professional and elegant manner on the set. She went on to provide powerful performances, supporting that the Partridge Family is still a healthy yet amusing diversion for viewers. We have to preserve the show's spirit alive, she thought. No matter what occurred off-screen, the Partridge had to have the feel of a true family. I believe that's what sustained us all. In the years after the show ended in 1974, Day she separated from the Partridge Family. Ancestry, as Cassidy held his music career, and often recalled his television in interviews and concerts. Day rarely spoke about it. She acknowledged that she had to move on. I didn't want that one to define them. Section of my life, regardless of how it was significant. She continued to construct a prestigious acting career, particularly as Grace Van Owen on LA Law, a character that brought her a Golden Globe and multiple Emmy nominations. With time, the resentment she previously had for Cassidy transformed into empathy. Reflecting on the past, I see now that we were both merely trying to make it through the tornado, she stated. He was under a lot of pressure more people were aware of. Day also admitted that she was sorry she didn't making amends with Cassidy prior to his 2017 death. I wish we had had another conversation, emotionally, she said. There were things unspoken, sorry perhaps, even though reality doesn't always allow for forgiveness, to offer you that opportunity. Dee considers her time spent with Cassidy with fondness and grief. My story will always include David, I said. She said, in some ways, we grew up together, even if it was in an extremely odd and public conditions. I will always treasure the giggles, the music, the long days of filming. They were unique years. Her open admission show, a woman who has reconciled with her history and discovered how to get past it. VHA, the prism of maturity and experience. Susan Dey's disclosure regarding David Cassidy is not a scandalous tale. It is a narrative of youth, celebrity, and the brittle ties it can bring people together and drive them apart in the spotlight. In her own words, we were inexperienced. We made errors, and we dreamed that millions of people would share it with us.